The best in the US.
Take on the best in the world.
It's a skill for skill.
Face off. Gymnastics like you've never seen it before.
Being part of the Professional Gymnastics Challenge was really important to me because to be able to bring more awareness to the sport of gymnastics is something that I've always wanted to do, and I've always felt like gymnastics is really popular every 4 years during the Olympic Games, but people don't really understand that everyone still trains the other 4 years just as hard. So to be able to have something like this and to have it on TV hopefully brought more attention to the sport. I definitely took tips from my dad because he has been my coach ever since I was about 8 years old. So coming in as a coach was definitely new for me this time, but I think I've learned so much over the past 20 years of my gymnastics competitive career. And I also knew that all of these athletes are professionals, so they really didn't need too much coaching. It was kind of more like being there and supporting them and cheering them on because they knew how to do their skills and they knew what skills that they were going to do in order to be competitive. But it was still really fun, I think, to have kind of like the coach figure on a team. And the coaches were very competitive too, which I've gotten a lot of feedback on, but it was funny because Svetlana and I were actually texting during the coverage when it was on TV, and it was funny because we were like, wow, we definitely look like we hate each other, but it was the competitive energy that we both brought out, and I think that goes to show that's how we were as athletes, that we always wanted to win, so we definitely wanted our teams to win. Well, when Svetlana and I got kind of heated, it was actually kind of funny because it was all about like a Ginger and a Delchev, and we put up, you have to say which skill you're going to perform before you do it. So we said a Delchev, and nobody on her team could do a Delchev, but they could do a Ginger. So she tried to say that our person did a Ginger, but it was really a Delchev, and she was like fighting with me, but they didn't show that on TV, of course, so it made me kind of look like the bad guy. But I think ultimately it was at the very end of the competition, and we were basically neck and neck, and whoever would win the next point would win the whole competition. So I understand where she was coming from, but it also kind of made me look like I was the rude one. One of my favorite moments from the PGC was actually at the very end on the single rail for the girls. Lana Weinstein, she did a double front half, and she's actually never even done that before, and that was the dismount that I had competed at the Olympics in 2008, and kind of the dismount I did throughout my career. So she came up to me like a few seconds before, and she's like, how do you do a double front half? And I'm like, what do you mean? You've never done it? And she's like, well, I've done a double front, but I've never like done a half out of it. And I was like, okay, just pretend like you're doing a double front, and when you see the ground at the very end, just kind of like do a braining out like you would on the trampoline or something. And so, I mean, I don't know how she even managed to do that, let alone stick it, but I think that was probably one of my favorite moments. And also Paul Ruggieri, how he just would go up there and just chuck everything. He had never done a lot of the skills that he was just trying. And I was thinking about myself, and I was thinking, I don't know if I could ever do that, just try a skill. And there was a lot of that actually from a lot of different people, which was really fun to see because I think it just brought out that competitive energy in everybody, and everyone was just daredevils, which all gymnasts are, but to see when the pressure was on and the expectations were there, but for them to kind of still go out there and be fearless was really cool.